Hey, everybody. Uh, welcome. Uh, welcome back to the continuation of our. Uh, ooh, why does that okay, there you go. That fixed it. Um, the continuation of our uh, Life is Strange franchise tier list here. In our last video, hey, in our last video, we did chapter 3 and 4 of Double Exposure. So I placed both chapter 3 and 4 in the B tier. Uh, Mainly because, as far as the plot and everything is concerned, the main plot of the game, um, things have kind of started to kind of unravel themselves a little bit. Um, and certain things didn't really add up too much. Uh, so so in the last episode, in the last video, we ended with chapter 4 with Safi's powers going crazy after exposing Lucas for his plagiarism. Lucas telling Safi in private that her mother Yasmin was the the orchestrator of working to hide the plagiarism and hide obviously the cover up the whole Maya situation and what actually led to her to actually commit suicide and everything. Because as far as them covering things up are concerned, they made it seem like Maya was very mentally ill in certain ways. So without obviously, with the main reason being that because of Lucas's plagiarism and her trying to get him to stop all of it, and him not doing that, obviously seeing all the fame and recognition that he is taking all the credit for, obviously led to her being extremely depressed and obviously leading to uh, killing herself, because obviously no one was trying to help her. Uh, as far as the Lucas situation goes, no one was really helping her. Cause even Safi was uh, led was kind of led to also uh, not really side with Maya, really. Um, I don't know. I don't believe, as far as that goes, that the game really explains how, like, why Safi didn't really, didn't fight more for Maya, really, especially when, you know, she was alive and the whole situation was actually happening. Um, they did. She does mention that she was young at the time, but the game. But yet again, the timeline of events, how everything happened, the game doesn't specify things. So it's like, okay, but you all were still in college. So what do you mean by young? Like at the very least, you're in your 20s. So I don't know if that's really like a valid excuse, really, especially when you don't really go into detail on how that's a thing. But in any case, um, learning her mom uh, was the main orchestrator, and obviously Safi regretting not helping more, helping Maya more, is the reason why she's so hell bent on making sure like all this the truth is exposed and everything is shedding light and everything, and why she's going through so much trouble to make it so so public about it. So so um so learning that she used Lucas's gun that, you know, Max found and Safi uh, took to make sure Max doesn't shoot her with it, because that part of the photo we still haven't gotten to, cuz that situation is going to happen. It's just we still have to get to that part. So in any case, she pretty much had her mom at gunpoint, pretty much gonna shoot her. Her powers going crazy, and during the whole situation, Safi shoots Yasmin in the arm. Regardless, she shoots her in the arm. The how is pretty much like depending on what you've done and your actions and stuff leading up to this point, and what decisions you make within the scene. So in any case, we uh, she's breaking down. She's going in and out of different people that she's jumped, that she's changed into. So Max uh has no idea what she can really do, but in any event, what she winds up doing, trying to have a Hail Mary pass somehow in this whole situation, is she takes the photo that she took of the owl on the little statue in front of the observatory building, and grabs Safi and is trying to have her and Safi jump into the photo. So that's pretty much how that episode ended. But because obviously Safi causing the storm and the tornado to come back again because of her powers going crazy. So yeah, so a lot of stuff uh went the end of chapter 4. Like a giant truck of things just came in and slammed into the story right at the end. Uh, but yeah, so we'll pretty much be going through the last episode, the last chapter of Double Exposure here. Also, a little tidbit for. Hold on a minute. Be right back. Okay. Um, is the photo that I mentioned from the uh that was of Max and Chloe that's similar to the Life is Strange 2 photo, if you depending on the ending you went with. This is pretty much how similar these photos are, because this is the Life is Strange 2 photo. So this is pretty much what it looks like here. And then this is the similar photo that you get in Double Exposure. So bam. So we go from this to this. This to this. The funny part is this this also whether these are supposed to be the same photo, uh don't really know. We do know it's the same location though. I believe it's the same location because Arizona here is the same area that David lives in the trailer, in the little what you call it, the little kind of homeless community. I don't know what you would call the little group that Karen was a part of where she lived. I don't know necessarily what would you call a group like that, but in any case, um, where David is set up with his trailer was also in Arizona. So if these are not supposed to be the same photo, because they are wearing the they're wearing the same shirt, the same shirts they're wearing, and well, obviously their hairstyles are supposed to be similar, but obviously the main difference here is Chloe's wearing green, has green hair, and Chloe has blue hair here. So I don't know. It seems like there's a dash of green because it seems like the back of her hair has green in it. But as far as this goes, there is no blue anywhere here. So, and obviously Chloe's arm is in a different position. Because in this one, Max seems to be the one that's taking the photo of them. And then in this one, clearly Chloe's the one taking a photo of them. So, so I don't know. It's it's very it's a it's a weird thing. I would assume that they're both different photos, and the other one uh was taken when they went to visit David again at some point, I guess. Or maybe it's all the same visit, and maybe they were Chloe decided to, I don't know, put some blue in her hair later in the day and decided to take another picture, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But either way, that's a fun little thing there. But in any case, we got let me see. So we start out with how did we start here? Oh, okay, so it's literally just immediately dumps you. Uh, so you're back at the so you're pretty much waking back up at the so you pretty much wake back up um in front of the statue again, like you did before. I believe this time you don't have a nosebleed. At least I don't think so. Right? Max doesn't wake up with a nosebleed, does she? Slightly. Not as much as it was the first time. Because the first time it was, I believe, worse. But in any case, you you wake up and then now you have to go find Safi, and obviously you're like, might as well go to the the little overlook, because that's where you found her uh, last time when she got shot. So might as well go try finding her there. And you do find her there, and she's alive. She's completely alive. So also a little weird thing is they don't really bring it up, but it's weird that because she she was holding on to Safi when she jumped into the photo, and then when they regain conscious, when they go into the photo and wake up, I guess the photo dumped both of them at the spots they were in when the photo was taken, I guess. Cause if not, you would have probably thought that they would just like be in the same spot together, I guess. But seems like that's not the case. It seems like even if you take someone within that photo, that they kind of just uh jump into whatever I guess whatever body or something is a version of yourself body that's there, I guess. So yeah, it's one of the things is with these powers, especially towards the end here, they're kind of playing fast and loose with them, and they're not really uh like putting a lot of information in front of you so you can figure out kind of a rule, like a rule set for the like the powers and stuff. Like they were like in the original game, like yeah, there was a few inconsistencies. The most obvious being in the original first episode of the original game, the fact of um when Max rewinds for the first time in the bathroom, she jumps back to being at her desk listening to Jefferson's lecture, even though um, after that point, anytime you do the rewinding, uh, Max is in the same exact spot that she rewound anything. So, which is even more confusing because a lot of that requires some puzzles for you to actually be in the same spot that you're rewinding. So, so it's not like the original game is completely void of certain inconsistencies and stuff like that. But it's definitely a lot tighter of a story than what Double Exposure is doing at this point. Um, Another main problem with uh, that we're gonna be getting in a minute here, but yeah. So we got so now we got Safi there at the lookout at the overlook. She's staring at the storm. So apparently the storm is multi-dimensional, I guess, because the storm because Safi even says it that Safi and Max even say that the storm apparently followed them through the photo. I I don't know how that works. Uh, Yet again, playing fast and loose with some of this stuff. Um, but cause the cause you if you're not going to fully explain, because if you're not going to fully explain how certain things work, then you need to at least present certain uh like evidence to back up certain like theories or whatnot, even though you don't want to 100% commit to to one thing or the other. Case in point, the storm in the original game. Like why is it a thing? Why did it like appear? The original game doesn't tell you that, but there's there's certain like theories that even Max and Chloe kind of think up that could maybe explain it. Like obviously Max's interpretation is that her abuse of her time travel powers is what created the storm. So, yet again, whether that's true or not, the game doesn't explicitly tell you, but at least it's something that you can kind of make a conclusion for yourself if you want. Like you could use that as an explanation for yourself if you want to. Um, Chloe, uh, Chloe says that maybe it was Rachel's like a manifestation of Rachel's like anger and revenge at the town or something, which which is kind of a stretch, but if you're taking Before the Storm into consideration and the ambiguity of if Rachel had some sort of powers in Before the Storm, because in the first episode of Before the Storm, when she burns the photo and stuff and kicks the garbage can open and over and the tree is burning, she screams and whatnot, and there's like a rush of air that blows onto like the tree, which is what sets up the big like forest fire and stuff that happens um in the background of before throughout Before the Storm. So if you want to take that as a literal um confirmation that Rachel may have had like wind powers or something that she maybe did not realize of, like was not even conscious of, then maybe you could do that, I guess. But that's the point, is that the original game kind of sprinkled in certain explanations but didn't commit to one explanation or the other, so it's still left as a mystery for the most part. But you could pretty much choose what explanation that you want to be comfortable with. But as far as here goes, aside from Safi's powers going out of control, and most likely that's what's causing the storm, then there's really no explanation even as to how does the storm follow you through photos and stuff when you're jumping. So yeah, it's the the storm is even more like of a magical MacGuffin than it was in the original game. But yeah, and also the thing with the thing with Maya, if you haven't realized by now, Maya is definitely supposed to be the uh the Rachel's like stand-in, because she's like the best friend of the main supporting character, in this case Safi, and in Rachel's case Chloe, obviously. And uh they they get killed. Well, the main difference is Safi 100% knows of Maya being dead, and Chloe just has no idea because she's missing for a majority of the original game, and one of the whole points of the game is to find her. So, and clearly both of these girls you don't ever meet in the games. Like, you're always finding out second hand from uh, what other people say about them, and then you kind of like piece together the type of person that they were. So that whole aspect is very obviously supposed to be similar to Rachel here. So yeah, Maya's definitely a similar enough to Rachel, but I do appreciate that Maya's uh situation generally is more more different than Rachel. Like it's not just like a carbon copy type of thing. Like at least the broad strokes are similar enough, but the major the major and finer details are vastly different between the two. So I do appreciate that. But yeah, so we finally uh uh talked to Safi. Safi still has the gun on her, by the way, too. So the gun joined us in the little interdimensional hopping that we're doing. Um, but pretty much the um so since the storm followed, it didn't necessarily solve anything. So hold on a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, so 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 Safi still has the gun. The storm is still is here. It follows you again, and so now they're trying to Max and Safi are trying to figure out like what do they do to stop it. And Safi's idea is pretty much if the storm is tied to Safi's powers, then Safi's idea is pretty much for Max to shoot her. uh, so 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 pretty much, you know, she's trying to get Max to shoot her and all that stuff. Um, Safi even takes the photo. Well, not the exact photo, but a similar photo to uh to the photo that was on dead Safi's camera. So obviously the photo is gonna look different because obviously the timeline and events and everything leading up to that have been different. So the general idea of the photo is still the same. Like it's still a photo of Max pointing the gun at Safi. So, but pretty much that happens, and then Max is pretty much like doesn't want to shoot her. Where like obviously because shit, Max ain't no murderer. What the fuck you're trying to get Max to kill to kill someone? So being she ends up doing um pretty much without you even choosing anything. Max pretty much says, you know what? Fuck this. I'm I'm not going to choose um I'm not going to choose the between two shitty decisions again. So so she also pretty much throw she also throws the gun uh at the tornado for whatever reason. Like I don't know what throwing the gun at the tornado would do. It would have been really it would have been really fucked up and funny though if when she threw the gun at the tornado, the gun just spun back around and then just like launched itself back like at one of them. Be like, girl, what did you think was gonna happen? But yeah, it's funny too because a lot of people that I've seen and stuff that have played the game, when they get to this scene and Max kind of goes up to the tornado, initially people thought that Max was gonna take the gun and shoot the tornado for no reason. But instead, she just throws the gun at it. So, there's that. So, meanwhile, Safi is like, what are you doing? And, and ironically, because you could take this in various different directions, Max, word for word, literally says, I have no idea. I'm kind of making it up as I go. Which is funny because at this point in the story, it almost feels like the game itself is kind of making things up as it goes at this point. So Max is definitely spitting out some facts here. But yeah, so Max decides um, to confront the storm. She decides to grab Safi, and both of them walk into the storm. When Max says that she's making it up as she goes, definitely walking into a gigantic tornado is definitely one way of doing that, I guess. But either way, let me see. You wait. Which one you do first? Because you wake up in. Okay, because you go into the tornado, and then you wake up in the courtyard. Uh, in front of Caladon. So you get dumped there, and then you like there's no storm. You meet up with Diamond. Like Diamond is here. Um, there's a reason why. Oh, and then you have this moment here. Um, where you have these double moons. And if you remember the original game, I believe it was it episode 4? Yeah, I believe it was episode 4 because it was when you're going to the Vortex Club party and Max notices that there's two moons in the sky. Um so so yet again this is another reference to the original game of having double moons here. Also, these clouds here is pretty much um, supposed to be the outline of the storm, and it seems like the campus, Caladon University, for the most part, is pretty much like in the eye of the in the eye of the storm, like the middle of the tornado, which is why everything in the center is pretty much like calm. So, but the clouds here can pretty much still shows you that the storm is still like chaotic on the outside. So pretty much that's how that works. Uh, Obviously, Diamond is extremely confused at what the fuck is even happening. So, pretty much, Max kind of um, tells Diamond uh, to pretty much calm down. That I'm gonna figure this out, and I'll try to explain everything to you later. Hopefully, when we get out of this situation, because we also have to find Safi. Because yet again, even though we went through a thing together, Max and Safi are again just separated for reasons. Which, to be fair, probably one of the reasons is kind of to pad out this chapter, because technically this chapter is extremely short, like extremely short. Like, how long was my playthrough of this? About 2.5 hours, but when I'm going through the playthrough, I'm trying to explore like all the different like as much as I can do. Like, obviously based on the choices I make, I'm gonna be able to do and not do certain things. But I try to do everything that's available to me to do. So, but if you're just running through this episode, you could probably finish this episode within maybe an hour and a half. It is very quick to get through. Um, so in any case, you go to join to go inside Caladon, because Diamond goes ahead of you and goes inside the university. And you go inside, and instead of going through the front door and being in because that door would lead you to the, I believe, the offices, the teacher's office area. But instead of that being on the other side of the door, Max is thrown to the into the, well, not literally thrown, but it cuts to Max going through the door of the roof to the observatory. So apparently these doorways don't lead to where they're supposed to lead. They just lead to random shit, apparently. so 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 it's here. It's up on this university that we run into Moses. And Moses is acting weird. And this is also an example. This little shot here is an example of when you're taking photos and you can manipulate the photo a little bit and stuff. Your options here are a little more limited because, you know, we're entering the finale of the game. But if Moses was a normal person, like if he was acting normal here, then you would be able to have like different like options for him to like do different poses. So like you'd be able to tell him to like change up poses and things like that. So but either way, Moses is acting funny. He's talking pretty much what he's talking like kind of like how everyone was talking at the party when Safi's powers were initially um going out of control, and people were technically like connected to Safi, and they were saying kind of what Safi was saying or what Safi was feeling or thinking in her head and stuff like that. So that's kind of what Moses is acting like right now. So instead, we so we deduce to pretty much like take a photo to see if we take a photo. And when we take the photo, this happens. That Moses kind of turns into Safi. But we pretty much have to do, like the name of the game suggests, we have to do a double exposure shot of the photo. Which is pretty much you take like two images of like a photo and you kind of like layer them on top of each other. And you pretty much have to do that with the Safi picture. See, you could kind of see it here with the Safi version, and double expose it onto Moses here. And then when you do that, it pretty much snaps him out of it, and then now he's back to normal. And he's pretty much confused. He's like, what the fuck is even like, what's happening? He's also conscious of he's fully aware of what was happening to him, because he pretty much tells you like he felt like he was trapped and stuff, and he was like feeling like Safi's like emotions and stuff like that. And he's pretty much like encouraging Max like you need to find her. She needs like your help and stuff. And pretty much Moses is pretty much like, I'm just gonna chill here until you figure out like what figure out what's going on. You pretty much try to figure out what's going on. Uh, well, figure out a way to stop everything that's happening. So, and this was, and this part here, what's gonna happen in the ending part of this, and segues into the next part, um, is is we because they kind of fist bump to leave, is so as Max is leaving through this door, um also, but hold on, before we get to that, you can probably kind of tell that this section here inside the tornado and going through doors and kind of jumping into different like different locations and things, this is pretty much supposed to be a parallel. This is supposed to be a parallel to the nightmare sequence from the end of the original game. Like that's wholeheartedly what this is supposed. This is pretty much supposed to be. Um. So in any case, Max um says goodbye to catch you later to Moses, and she goes to leave, and then she sees this. Look at that. She sees a blue butterfly just fly past her, and there you go. It lands on the door, and if you're able to read the subtitles that Max says, is she says when what's it, a door opens, right? Yeah, when the door closes, a window opens, which is the same quote that Mac, which is the same line that Max says when when the butterfly when she sees the blue butterfly in the bathroom in the original game. So that's pretty similar. So she goes, opens the door, goes through the door, and this is what she finds, which which was really, really, it was shocking, kind of, but I do kind of appreciate that they kind of went the extra mile to do it, even though it's a small little thing, that they were able to do this. They they were able to, they literally recreated the Blackwell bathroom for Max here, which which is pretty crazy. And then look at that, it goes goes right on the bucket again. Oh, and then we have this fun little thing of Max recreating, um, of Max kind of reenacting the Nathan and Chloe thing, where Max is playing the role of Nathan, and Safi, not very subtly, is supposed to be playing the role of Chloe, and pretty much Max is this version of Max is literally saying everything that Nathan says line for line in this scene, and then pretty much Safi is saying the same exact lines that Chloe says. So the big I do appreciate how yet again Hanatel is voicing like evil Max here, where she, you know, is having to say the lines for of Nathan here. Main problem with this scene though is I don't know what happened, but Safi's voice and delivery of Chloe's lines in this scene are not that great. Like me personally, I would have tried to re-record her Safi's delivery here, because it sounds very it doesn't sound great. Let's put it that way. So in any case, we do the gunshot. Max reaches out her hand like she's supposed to, and everyone's gone. And she pretty much deduces that the storm is kind of at this point is trying to torment her, like psychologically here, because she, you know, she's trying to that the storm is pretty much having her confront the same the inciting incident pretty much of her powers and her whichever way you go, her guilt and whatnot, and is pretty much constantly showing it to her with this. So pretty much you look at around the bathroom, which is funny. Also during these moments, you do get like little text cameos, because you get this text cameo from Kate, you get one from Victoria, you get one from Warren here, and you get one from Mom and Dad. And if you have the cat content, you also get one from the cat. And most of these text messages are supposed to be like disturbing and stuff. Which is pretty much the same, just like how if you go into your Max's text messages during the nightmare sequence in the original game, those texts will also be like disturbing and like horror, kind of like a psychological like horror type of conversation in the text. So pretty much the same here. really good attention to detail for the most part for this for recreating the bathroom. The graffiti and stuff is on the same walls. All that's the same. Uh, Obviously, the coloring and the overall look of the bathroom is gonna be slightly different because remember, almost well, as far as development goes, a more than a 10-year difference between the original game and Double Exposure. So, with the advancement of game engines and stuff that you're working on, clearly it's not going to look 100% the same because technology advances. Like if the bathroom was entirely looked entirely the same with this new version of Max, she would stick out so badly in that bathroom. So at least everything is good enough. And also this is the last I think this is the last collectible Polaroid picture that you could find. And this one is uh technically there are one, two, I believe there are 5 games at this point now. There are 5. uh, but there are, but yeah, there are definitely 5. But yeah, so this is the last Polaroid, and when you get these Polaroids, you you get like a little like audio like memory or something related to like what's going on in the photo. And for this one, it's let me see, where did I? There you go. For this one is a nice little Easter egg of the poster of the End of the World party from the original game. Except obviously the date and stuff is different on here because oh no, no, it's exactly the same, isn't it? What's the game? Did the original game take place in 2013? Yeah, I believe it was supposed to be 2013. But yeah. And then you also have a little see, a little does it show? Yeah, there you go. Is this is where Chloe's new voice lines come in, is from this what if photograph of the storm and stuff fucking with Max's head. So it pretty much shows her this thing uh where Safi is like Max's best friend and she like fully rejects Chloe and kind of throws Chloe under the bus, and Chloe's like justifiably pissed off about it, and they're like and Chloe's pretty much like yelling at Max over it. And that's pretty much why they did the re-recording of Max's of Max and Chloe's voice line, and why they brought, since they couldn't get since they either couldn't or didn't want to, or for whatever reason, Ashley Birch was not able to come back to voice Chloe again for this. They had Rihanna come in, and which yet again Rihanna was the one that did Chloe's voice in Before the Storm, and the little cameos in the True Colors Wavelength DLC. So she does. So that's why they did that for the consistency of having the same voice throughout the whole game, and not just using the audio files from the original game. so so yeah, that's the main reason they did they this is why they did it. Uh the shocking part about it too, the shocking part about it too is that is completely optional. So you could miss that photograph and not even get that line to begin with. So so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, well, if you didn't find it, then you'd probably be very confused as to why they're not even using audio files from the original game. But but yeah. So in any event, uh you hear the Christmas ornament of Hot Dog Man coming from one of the stalls in the bathroom, and you pretty much have to kick it open. The fun part about this too is when you're in this nightmare sequence, when you do your pulsing and stuff, and the game is supposed to tell you what world you're in, whether you're in the alive world or the dead world, it it just gives you a giant question, a bunch of question marks, because the game is like, we don't even know what world you're in at this point. So that's the funny part. So in any case, you kick open those the stall doors. You kick them open, and then you wind up coming out, if you can tell, where the bowling alley. So you're back at the bowling alley from the beginning of the game. Which even more disturbing because it has like all these plushies and everything just thrown everywhere. So it's like a giant avalanche of plushies everywhere. Also, uh, the Maya's tree, the tree that they had to dedicate for Maya in the courtyard, for some reason is inside the bowling alley here. So pretty much you have to figure out a way to get downstairs. You can't go through the hall because all the plushies are block the whole stairs and everything, so they can't even do it. So so yeah, so you have to figure out how to get down there, and it's at this point, because you could see this is how the oh yeah, you also get a cameo of a Joyce, another Joyce message here. Um, but yeah, oh yeah, because Lucas is the one that's down there now, so you need to get to him. Um, this is what you use to go back and forth between timelines. Ooh, excuse me. Uh, oh, I like it. The banner is literally saying, "What are you looking for?" So pretty much you have to figure out a way to get down. You just well, obviously I'm just exploring everything around here, and then you shift over. You shift over to the other world, and the banner changes to the "Go fuck your selfie" line that Victoria says to Max when they're at the when they're blocking the way, sitting on the stairs by the in front of the dorm rooms. And you also notice that right below it is a bunch of red binders. And we all should remember what those red binders mean. Oh yeah, and you can't zoom in on this because even within the game, like Max refuses to like zoom in on this bulletin board. But uh, if you look at them enough, these are some of the pictures from Jefferson's binders. So you could see that this one is Rachel here. I believe this one's Kate. This is Max. And I think this might be another one of Kate's. And then this one is the picture of Nathan and Rachel. So yeah, these are those. And then the dark room door, which you can't open. Like you could try to open it, but it doesn't do anything. Instead, all it does is make the chair appear. The chair that Max was duct taped to. And then from there, you pretty much have to confront, kind of face your fear type of thing, right? And you pretty much have to put yourself back in the chair and get yourself out again. And this part, I severely wish that they used the audio files from the original game for this part and actually had this being Jefferson's voice. But instead, what they did, as you can see, is that they had Lucas saying Jefferson's lines here, which obviously is supposed to be the parallel of the two, teachers, the two bad teachers type of thing. So, even though Jefferson is a million times worse than Lucas, because for the most part with Lucas, it's pretty much the plagiarism and the fact that he dug his heels in too deep, that he has to keep the lie going now. Like, it's too late to come clean at that point because he's been doing it for so long that he just has to keep doing that. At the very least, he didn't actually drug people and may or may not have done anything sexual or anything, but did do very disturbing shit. So at the very least, Lucas didn't do any of that. So I'm pretty sure Jefferson is way worse. So they're similar in a broad strokes kind of way, as far as just a bad teacher. But what they do is miles difference between the two. So yeah, eventually Max breaks free from that, is able to get down, and then you can also note there's actually a lot of people on the on the ground floor of the bowling alley, because you can find Loretta here, who's pretty much curled up in a fetal position in the corner, like pretty much freaking out at what's happening. So you could pretty much calm her down and be good. And then with Lucas here, you pretty much have to do the same thing you did with Moses, with the photos. And then you can find Reggie is also in here, and Vin is also here. Also, a little fun little tidbit as far as Vin and Reggie goes is in this scene we can get pretty much Vin and Reggie kind of together in a way. And the only way that can work though is if you're not in a romance with Vin. So if you're not in a romance with Vin, you can actually kind of play matchmaker between Vin and Reggie, which would have been fine if they actually made it like more obvious that you can do that instead of it kind of just being thrown in here kind of at the end. Because the only way you really get any hints that Reggie likes Vin is if you pursue a relationship with Vin. Then certain interactions with Max and Reggie are more like jealousy, like has jealousy like overtones and stuff to it. So if you're not doing that, then it kind of feels like this comes out of nowhere type of thing. So you leave the bowling alley now, and then now you're back at the Snapping Turtle, and you find Amanda. So Amanda's obviously here because when is she never not here? Even within the tornado, she has to be here. She can't be anywhere else. So you pretty much have Amanda freaking out, and then you have to figure out how to get to Gwen, because Gwen is outside in the patio area, but the patio area is blocked, so you need to like try to figure out a way to get around that. And not necessarily how you do it, but you pretty much try to leave, try to go through a door, and instead of going to the door, you're dumped into the first completely new area, and it's this hotel room. And the meaning of this hotel room is kind of different depending on what ending from the first game you're going with. So it's either you and Chloe have been road tripping because we know from Life is Strange 2 that Max and Chloe pretty much like travel around to different places and stuff. So this is pretty much like a callback to that well, could be a callback to that depending on what ending you chose. And this is one of the hotel rooms that they like stood at and whatnot. If not, then this is pretty much then the hotel room is framed as Max is pretty much traveling around doing different photography like projects and stuff that she's working on to try to make a name for herself, pretty much. So that's so the framing of this hotel room is pretty much like different depending on what you're going with. In any event, you have to figure out like a way out. So you go through this. So you go through the door. Pretty much, I'm just examining everything to try to see what everything that Max says. So you go through the door, and then you go through the door, and bam, you're back in the hotel room again. So this particular part of the nightmare sequence is literally a direct parallel to the dorm room section when you were going in and out of the dorm rooms the hallway kept looping on itself. It's the same thing here with this hotel room. So you have to go through the hotel room a couple of times, and obviously it like changes subtly and then drastically as you keep doing it until it becomes like all black and white and stuff in the last one here. And then you're finally able to get through the door, and then now you're back in the snapping turtle again, and now the blockage to the patio is gone for whatever reason, and then now you're able to go to the patio and help Gwen. And you pretty much have to do the same thing. The whole double exposures thing. So you did it with Moses first, then you did it with Lucas, and then now you do it with Gwen. So why you don't have to do it for like everybody is not extremely clear, because Diamond was fine, Amanda's fine, Reggie was fine, and Vin was fine, and Loretta was fine. So it seems like the only people that you had to do double exposure to are the people that are more connected to Safi than others. Because you would think that would also count Vin, but for whatever reason, Vin isn't affected by this, I guess. But in any case, you finish all that, and then now you dumped back in the courtyard, and now this time Safi is actually sitting at the bench this time. So now you meet up with her. You kind of hash things out a little bit, and then as you're talking, you're jumping around to different locations as you keep the conversation going. So now you're at the snapping turtle, and then after you finish this part of the conversation, you jump to the top of the observatory. And then when you finish this part of the conversation, you're back at Max's house now. So pretty much they're hashing out like Safi's powers, what she, you know, going out of control. Safi kind of realizing her emotional state, coming to grips with the truth and everything that has happened, and she pretty much, asking Max how she dealt with traumatic experiences, because obviously their conversation with that depends on what ending you chose, because it's either the trauma of Chloe being dead or the trauma of the town being destroyed. So, and a bunch of people obviously dying in the process of that. But yeah. So she also kind of Safi also kind of brings up during these various parts of these conversations, she kind of brings up that since Max and Chloe have powers, that they're kind of should be above, kind of above people. So now, and she's pretty, and Safi's pretty much like, since everything that's happened, there's no like there's no reason for me to be like around here, and she's kind of floating out the idea of like maybe I should just leave type of thing. And so we're kind of getting a little thing of Safi maybe getting kind of like a power trip thing. But in any event, we also she also how Safi knows this particular detail, I have no idea. But she pretty much says that to get out of this and get back to the normal reality, we that Safi has to take back like pieces of herself. And hence why you had to do the double exposure photograph stuff with the other people, because apparently the reason why they were acting like that is because there was a piece of Safi in there, and it's kind of implied that when she turns into different people, she kind of leaves a piece of herself in that original person. So I don't, it's not extremely explained very thoroughly, but it's pretty much the explanation she gives. And Safi pretty much says that the final piece that she needs is inside of Max. So she needs to take that piece of her back, and once she does that, everyone will be able to get back to normal reality. Max also kind of asks why why it didn't affect her the same way that it affected everyone else. And I believe, and Safi even doesn't even fucking know. So I guess because the plot demanded it, I guess. I don't know. But my explanation for me as to why Max was not affected is because since Max has powers, the fact that it's another superpowered person, I guess, kind of has like a nullifying effect to things, I guess. I guess that's how it works. But yeah, so that's pretty much how that works. So now, so she takes that part out, and they wake up back on the Overlook, on the bench there. And this whole time, Yasmin was still on the floor, bleeding from her gunshot wounds. Which is funny too, because how long was she there? Like, how long was everyone trapped in the storm to begin with? Oh yeah, now since they're back in reality, for whatever reason, the storm is pretty much like gone. Like the storm just disappears. Which I guess would mean that that Safi is like back in control now. So now she's fine, I guess. So pretty much Safi at this point has decided to completely cut ties with pretty much everyone for the most part. Like, to leave and to pretty much leave. And she kind of taunts and she pretty much kind of goes on a power trip now because she's like, with all the powers and stuff that we can do, we could kind of like do anything and stuff. And she's kind of goading Max into to pretty much like join her, to like come with her, which pretty much leads to pretty much the final choice of the game, which is pretty much, well, the final big choice of the game, which is to agree with going with Safi or refusing her offer. Because Safi also brings up that since she's going to leave, she's going to look for see is that now, since she knows Max exists and there's other people that have powers, she's gonna go out and see if she could find other people that are like them, that have some sort of power. So whether that means Safi is gonna run into like Daniel, or or Alex or something, I have no idea. I I don't know. so so pretty much you could join, you could agree with it or not. Either way, for the time being, Max is gonna stay at Caladon anyway. So it's not like if you agree, then Max just runs away with her at the end anyway. Even if you agree, Safi pretty much says uh, that she's gonna come back and get Max, so that way to give Max time to, I guess, prepare prepare to leave. So pretty much to like get her things together and, you know, settle any last minute things that she needs to get closure on and stuff, and Safi will be back to pick her up, type of thing. That's pretty much what happens if you agree. If you refuse, then obviously Max is gonna stay here anyway, and Safi pretty much kind of goes and is disappointed that Max isn't gonna, you know, join her, and disappointingly just kind of in an asshole move turns into Max and tells her pretty much bye and leaves as Max for whatever reason. It's pretty messed up, but yeah. Also, when you um so either way, Safi leaves. Presumably you go to get Yasmin to a fucking hospital, cause who knows how long she's been there. Um, cause we don't know how long events happen within that storm. Like, they could have been in there for hours. They could have. It could have literally been like they were there and then they weren't there and then they're back again, type of thing. So I don't. Yet again, the game's not very clear on these things. Um, and then So so from there, obviously, we do a little epilogue here to wrap things up, and you kind of see the destruction of Caladon here. Like these fence posts are these light lamp posts are slightly bent, and I think there's some trees and destruction that's kind of littered around. Yet this is one of the main criticisms too of the whole storm thing here is in the aftermath of the storm there's not really any destruction or anything like a lot of destruction here. Like it's not very noticeable. Like you could see this montage. This montage is clear. Look, some broken trees. This is supposed to show you the amount of destruction that happened here, but it's like, bro, like the storm barely did anything. Like it's not like it's not like in the original game where the storm literally was tearing everything apart. You had cars on roofs, you had buildings that were like half standing and like destroyed, you had fires and stuff going on. Like here, it's like, what really happened? Like, it doesn't really seem like a lot of crazy shit happened. So, yeah, it's definitely doesn't feel like something big happened. It just feels like a slight breeze came in and kind of knocked over and bent a couple of things, and there's not really much damage going on. Also, you could also see that if you did the cat content during the Krampus party, you could scan a QR code that was on a poster for Loretta's podcast, where they were trying to find a missing cat. So you come to find out that the cat that you were looking after was the missing cat, and then now you're gonna hand over the cat to Loretta, and Loretta is gonna take the cat back to like the real owner and stuff. So that's pretty much it for the cat content. Yet again, $80 for that whole thing. But here's the big part is okay, this is the text message of the cat's owner to, meet up with Loretta to drop off the cat. But you see this here. This text message from Chloe. This is the first text message from Chloe that you get in the entire game. Because all the other text messages are all old stuff. So this is the first new text message from Chloe that Max gets. Because the only other new things that you get slightly during the course of the game, more so in the beginning of the game, is their version of Instagram and certain posts that Chloe makes and comments that she makes on those posts. So as far as direct messages to Max, this is the only one that she gives you. Let me see if I could get to the part where... Because this is also your mom and dad pretty much checking up on you because they heard about the storm and everything, and they're making sure you're okay. And here's Chloe's thing, and this is pretty much the same thing. Is Chloe hearing about the storm and pretty much asking, that she's okay. If she's okay. To which you don't respond to, by the way. Like she she doesn't give you a text message. There's no option to write down a text response, which is also funny because you could text respond certain other people throughout the game, but you can't even give a response here. So that's kind of sucks. The one person I'm pretty sure fans would have wanted you to be able to interact with in some way, and you don't even get that. Oh yeah, this is the little Instagram, their version of Instagram that they have. Yeah, they call it crosstalk. And see, this is Chloe's little Instagram icon. But yeah, so there's not much going on here. That's little journal entries. So you drop off the cat at Loretta's, and stuff. Pretty much wrap things up with her. No, that wasn't Reggie. I think that was still Loretta. And then you can meet up with Lucas, because Lucas is sitting by the statue here. You can wrap things up with him. Also, the big part with this too is everybody has full memories of everything that happened in the storm, for one, and two, and most importantly, the alive and dead Safi timelines have pretty much merged together. So every version, so if there was still two versions of the same character in both realities, both of those versions pretty much merged with each other. So now everyone kind of has like double memories now, because now they have the memories of both versions of themselves from both timelines. So that's an interesting thing, because that's another thing that most of them are also telling Max, is that they're bringing up situations that have happened in one timeline over the other. So yeah, that's confusing. Well, confusing for them, and takes some getting used to. And then you get a phone call from Yasmin to update her on her being at the hospital, for one, because of the gunshot. And pretty much Yasmin's thing is different depending on how your relationship with her is, because she could either like resign from being like president, principal of the college and stuff, the university. She could be forced to step down and stuff, like essentially be fired and all this stuff. So yeah, it's doesn't really amount to much, because it's just this phone call. This phone call is for the most part the same, because it mostly focuses on Yasmin kind of being worried about Safi and what she's gonna do and where she is and all that stuff. And in any event, you go back to the Snapping Turtle, so you go back to the bar, and everyone else is pretty much at the bar. So you can talk to Amanda. You pretty much have to kind of like talk to everybody to wrap up everyone's little thing. Particularly with Amanda, is since she has memories of both versions of herself, she actually brings up to Max the situation I said last time where dead world Amanda uh wanted to put their relationship on hold while Max was grieving and stuff, and then alive world Amanda, Max pretty much pursued a relationship with fully a relationship with her, and Amanda brings that up and kind of tells Max that that was like, you know, kind of fucked up and stuff like that, and pretty much breaks up with Max regardless here anyway. Because it's that and the fact of Max's superpowers and Amanda not being able to handle being in a relationship with someone that has like all that power and responsibility and stuff like that. So pretty much that as quickly as that relationship started is as quickly as that relationship ends. You pretty much talk to Diamond. Diamond's, you know, they're all asking for clarification on stuff. Reggie will be here depending on if you didn't romance Vin and you got them together, then Reggie's here. If not, I don't believe Reggie's at the bar then. I don't think he's even here. There's certain people that are going to be at this bar no matter what decisions you make. And then there's certain people that's at this bar that's only going to be here based on certain decisions. Um, and then you talk to Gwen. You can also confirm to her that it was Safi and that surveillance footage that got her fired. Gwen also says that because of the craziness that has happened, that she thinks she may be able to get her job back. So that's a plus for her. Also, Gwen is only in this bar if you actually had a solid enough relationship with Gwen. If your relationship with Gwen was utterly shit, then she is not gonna be here. So um you pretty much save Moses for last because you have to talk to Moses last to close out the game. So it's at that point you talk to him. Um her her the choice of because he also calls you out on whatever choice you made with in regards to Safi, whether you refuse her whether you refuse her offer or accept her offer, he'll call you out on whichever option you chose. um Most people refuse because they're like, why would Max accept uh that offer? The only reason I would think for Max to accept Safi's offer is only to be around Safi and try to guide Safi so that way she doesn't like become a uber supervillain or anything. Like that's the only reason I would reason as to Max why she would accept that offer. And also, uh, where is it? There you go. Here we go. If Chloe's around, then Moses says this line here, where he's pretty much encouraging Max to go see Chloe and actually like resolve things with her. To which Max pretty much says, I think I'm gonna do that, but not yet because she still has to clear things up with everyone here. So pretty much hope that things will work out between the two of them. That's kind of the insinuation there. Um, so Max pretty much makes a speech to pretty much obviously come clean about her powers and explain everything that happened and whatnot to clear things up to everybody. And then that's pretty much the end of the game. And there's also a after you do your choice breakdowns, there is a after. Is it here? Did I move past it by accident? Yeah, I think I did. Because I think it's after the. I think it's before the choice breakdown. Come on. Yeah, there you go. It's right after the credits. I thought it would have been after the choice breakdown. Because the little after credit sequence of Before the Storm was after the choice breakdown. So I forgot they did it before that and not after that. So they kind of reversed themselves from last time. So with this, we get this after credit sequence. And it turns out it's Diamond here, and she is having a nosebleed. And the game is kind of playing a little cheeky here because from how this game is taking it is, if someone has powers, then they have a nosebleed when they kind of overexert their powers or something. Because even Safi was having that when her powers were going out of control, when she had the gun pointed at her mother. She was starting to get like a nosebleed and stuff. So this game is insinuating that having a nosebleed is a sign that you have powers. So the insinuation here is that it seems like somehow Diamond has some sort of power. Obviously we have no idea what the fuck that power is because this is an after credit sequence, and I'm pretty sure even they haven't fully figured out what powers they're gonna give her anyway. So it's just a little tease and a cliffhanger of like, oh, what powers could she have? So she's having this nosebleed. She's freaking out, and then Safi comes back behind her, and she pretty much gives Diamond a similar offer that she gave Max. So, and Diamond pretty much goes with Safi. So pretty much Diamond is like Safi's like first recruit of her intention of gathering like other super powered people. So there's that. And then the last shot of the game is pretty much this screen of promising that Max will return again for a third game, apparently. How will that be? What form will that take? I have no clue. We have no clue. So, whenever that time comes, I will be here for it. So hopefully it'll come together way more than this did, because this kind of devolved into a mess of ideas and not really executing them in the best way, and most importantly, not really explaining them very satisfyingly. So, not even giving you ambiguous enough things that let you put together your own explanation. So it didn't even really do that much. So with that, we're gonna put chapter 5 in B tier right at the bottom. So as you can see, because these are all the chapters here, because this is chapter 1, chapter 2, 3, 4, and 5. You will notice that as the game went on, things started dropping. Like things started going downwards. Like it started becoming a downward trend. So uh so that wasn't great. Um so I will say, like I said in the beginning of, just like I said when we were talking about the first chapter 1, if Hanatel did not come back to voice Max for this game would have absolutely no glue holding this game together, and it would have fallen completely apart way sooner than it did. So kudos, yet again, kudos to everyone, because yet again, everyone's performances within the game is good. Like everyone does like really good performances, but yet again, the writing and the story is where things start to fall apart a little bit. So that's how that goes. So that's pretty much that. Uh, in one sitting, I can't have more than 500 calories. Like I need about 400 calories. So with that, that's the end of going through each of the chapters. Uh, well, each of the episodes slash chapters of all of the games, because this is all of the games. So all of the games are done. So, well, all of the games are done as far as doing the of ranking where each chapter and episode for me. But as you can see, we have a little bit more down here. And this, and I saved one of the better things for last, and that is going through the comic, going through the comic series that they made. And to do that, each of the comics was released in like little 4-issue like little 4-issue series, like storylines, right? Like there's an overarching like big storyline that ends up happening in the comics, but it's segmented into different like parts of the story. Like each part of the story pretty much has like a beginning and end and whatnot. So pretty much each of these represent a one of the trades, because since each of the 4 chapters overall is like think of it as your own episode if it was a game. So I'm gonna treat each trade of the comic book as its own episode. So as far as the main comic series goes, that is 6 books long. So think of it as like 6 episodes, more or less. So that's pretty much how that's gonna go. But with that, we will save the ranking the comics for the next video, because there was definitely a lot more to say about double exposure. So we'll leave things like this and then we'll dive into where the comics stack up in all of this. So definitely tune in for that next time, for when we pick this up in the next part of this, because it's gonna be very, 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 very interesting what happens in the comics, because there's a lot more detail about the comics that I will go into in the next video. So with that, this is JR here signing off, and I will catch you all in the next one. Later.